what's up? So this is interesting. So a friend of mine forwarded me a video. He wanted to know my opinion about oops, sorry. He wanted to know my opinion about this video. And in this video, sorry, I'm just laying down because after I do this video, I'm gonna do a quick workout, and I like to lay down and stretch my back. So on this video actually challenges the notion of evolution. Um, I admit it is from a biased point of view. It's from a Christian preacher, but it challenges the notion of evolution versus creation. And it talks about even challenges the fact that the commonly held belief that humans have evolved from apes. It's like, why are we making that assumption? It's like we act like it's a foregone assumption. Just because two creatures look alike doesn't mean one evolved from the other. All that means is that the two creatures look similar because they're in a similar environment. So he says humans probably did not evolve from apes, simply because we're in a similar environment. So you're gonna have two similar creatures, with similar features. Apes and humans. Both were meant to climb trees. Of course, apes were meant to climb trees better than humans, so their feet and hands gonna look a little bit differently. So we can't assume that just because two creatures look alike, that one evolved from the other. That still could be just two separate creatures. And he also showed the notion, challenged the notion that we could tell how long the Earth has been around from carbon dating. He's like, well, don't you realize the atmosphere, as far as the breakdown of carbon products, is different in this environment. So we're assuming that the path, the physiology of carbon dating and the physics behind that is similar in this environment as it was years ago. Plus, when you look at a tree, you don't know what shape the tree was, so we're assuming. Like for instance, he talks about a candle burning, and I don't know if I could replay this, but you could look at a candle as it burns and tell how long that candle's been burning. You look at the rate of the candle burning, but you don't know the shape of the candle. Did it branch off from above? So you're assuming you're making a lot of assumptions. So I'm not even going to go into details about that. But what I'm saying is, what I like about the video, I'm not saying I agree or disagree, just gives you a lot to think about, is that challenge the notions of, don't be afraid to challenge the notions of status quo. Don't be afraid. I've challenged a lot of notions of status quo. That's why I'm always reading and doing research and listening to podcasts about things that we, were taught growing up that may not be true. For instance, we were taught growing up that we need grains, we need bread. I was even at a church service where I get the point of the church service, but in the church service, they say, yeah, the body needs water and the body needs bread. You will die without water and bread. And I was shaking in my boots because we don't need bread. You can live your entire life without bread. You don't need bread. You don't need bread. You don't need bread. And you don't need grains. That food pyramid that the USDA that we were taught in elementary school and high school is strictly false. We don't need grains. Grains don't need a big part of our diet. You don't necessarily need dairy. To be totally honest, only thing you need is fruits and vegetables and nuts and berries. And don't get me wrong, there's some people who will do well on milk, who will do well on grains and dairy. Dairy is milk, but you don't need it. So challenge that notion. Here's another notion I want you to think about. We were taught status quo. You need breakfast. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. We're finding out you don't necessarily need breakfast. And there are some people, if they skip breakfast and go on this thing called intermittent fasting, where you skip breakfast and start your meal with lunch, some people, it works better for them. They end up actually becoming leaner and looking better for their body composition when you skip breakfast. So these are common notions that we're taught, that if you will walk around and say these things, oh, whoa, wait a minute. We all know we need breakfast. You don't need breakfast. Oh, we need grains and milk. You don't need grains and milk. You don't need those things. So, and you don't, I'm not going to preach to you and say what I'm saying is correct, but just do your research and challenge. I've done my research, and that's why there are some things that are status quo. To be honest, I still follow. I said there are some things that are status quo. I'm like, I don't think that's true. I believe that we still need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So that's status quo. We've been taught sleep is extremely important. That's status quo that I believe in. As far as overtraining, the whole concept of overtraining, um, I have a different idea of overtraining. I think overtraining is different for everyone. There's some people who can work out 7 days a week, and some people who can't. And there's some people who are taught you can't work the same body part every day. You can't do this, you can't do that, and I've changed the notion of that. Of everybody's different. There are some people who can squat every single day, and then some people who can't. depending upon your goals. You could do certain things. Some people, I've been told, oh yeah, you can't do work your abs every day. I work my abs every day. So challenge status quo. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you everything that people tell you in the textbooks is true, because now you begin to believe a dogma that has not been proven. Make people work for it. Make those scientists and economists and whoever else have PhDs and MDs behind their name, make them work for their money. Make them work. Don't just have them just jump up there and just say something. They don't have to prove it and sit back. No, once you challenge them, now they got to do, multi-center randomized controlled studies to prove what they're trying to say. So make them work. And that's a betterment for you and me. So now when we believe in something, we can say, well, you know what? This is not for anecdotal evidence. This is from studying, hundreds of people, or thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people. All right. So make people work for their money. Um, but I'm not going to sit there and tell you that everything they're saying is false, because there are some things that are true. And there are some things when you go too far against status quo are dangerous if you start believing, oh yeah, it's not true. You know, um, we're starting to believe that we don't need carbs as much as we think we do. You can survive very well on a low carb diet if that's what you want to do. You don't necessarily need carbs. We're finding out that cholesterol is does it plays a bigger role in coronary artery disease as much as inflammation. Okay, so we're finding out a lot of things. We're also finding out that steroids is not bad if you're being followed by a doctor and you take 1/10 the dose that people don't abuse. Like steroids aren't good. Once you get above age 40, I'm not on steroids, by the way. I'm gonna put that out there. It's okay to do hormonal replacement with different things. So we're finding out that's okay if you're being monitored by a doctor, and the amount of testosterone that people get put on is 1/10 the dose that people use when they abuse it. So we're finding out a lot of things in medicine and in health that people say are true that aren't necessarily true. That they're okay. Some of these things are radical. Some of these things aren't radical. So, like I said, just challenge the status quo. But this video, really moved me because I was working out while listening to this video on YouTube. I was like, wow, okay, all the stuff that I was taught when I was younger is being challenged. I'm going to do my own research to see if I follow it. My view, I do believe in creation. I put creation and evolution together. After this video, I may do my research and lean more so toward creation, evolution, not in the sense that every creature came from another creature, but evolution in the sense that, I may look at it, may consider that every creature is unique in itself. But I do believe there has been an intelligent source in the form of, since I follow Christianity, the Holy Trinity that created everything. But even if you don't believe in Christianity, you have to believe that there's some intelligent source out there that created everything, because everything just works too perfectly in this world. So that's why I believe there has been an intelligent source. And the reason I follow Christianity is that from young, I've been blessed enough and fortunate and lucky enough that I've been born into the Christianity religion. And there are other things in my life that are specific, that aren't scientific, that I cannot explain, that has happened in my life simply because I follow Christianity, simply because I prayed for it, because I walked in a certain path that I cannot explain. Definitely can't. It's too much to call coincidence, and it doesn't fit the realm of, science. If I got hit by a car, for instance, then science will explain why, I died. Okay. If I get hit by a car and I have injuries, which 99% of the population die, and I live for some reason, then the only way you can explain that as a praying person and as people praying for me is Christianity through the Holy Trinity. So I just can't explain certain things in my life. And that's personal to me. That's not anecdotal. Of course, I would never use that line of reasoning to support any medical therapy or treatment, but I'm using that to support the reason I believe in Christianity. I'm not scholar. I leave that for the scholars. I consider myself a scholar of medicine, health, and fitness, and I'm working on nutrition, the Bible. I leave that to the scholars to decide, but I know what works for me. All right? So challenge the status quo in religion, evolution, science, medicine, health, and nutrition. Don't believe everything you see. Now that we have Facebook, now that we have the internet, there's no reason for you to be ignorant, but watch out for your sources, and hopefully you have enough friends you can bounce things off of. All right? Peace out.